beatitudes back up on the screen?
Certainly is.
Okay.
All of them? They're all mixed.
They're all, okay,
Sure.
that's okay. The beatitudes, can, when you see blessed, you can actually change that to how honorable, if you ever want to read that in a different way. This is about the Beatitudes. It's probably harder to put together than you may think, a message. But I called it, as you see in your bulletin, the pursuit of happiness. Now I know that this is an election year, but this is not an electional speech. The title did, however, come from America's Declaration of Independence, the pursuit of happiness. It is strange to us today that a phrase like this would be in a political document. A critical person might say that this type of language is what is wrong with America. Well, there was once a person who made the pursuit of happiness the central theme in his political apparatus. His name was Jesus. Yes, Jesus of Nazareth. And when he started his travels, his people, the Jews, were a captive people under the control of a foreign government. This person, Jesus, announced that the kingdom of heaven was coming, and the people who gathered to hear him felt that he was the one who would be king when this kingdom was established. Gradually, large crowds began to follow Jesus wherever he spoke. And one day the crowd was especially far-flung. Judea and even beyond the Jordan River. Jesus went up there on that mountain, and there came the group of 12 men, his campaign committee, if you will. And apparently the crowd was still within earshot because Jesus finished speaking. The crowds were astounded at what he had said. They sensed that he spoke with authority, much more authority than the legal and political experts of the time. Jesus began his campaign platform with what we refer as the Beatitudes. That is a list of blessings. It was nothing other than a promise of happiness, a very bold appeal for people to follow. Since then, there has never been a political document that has been as widely taught, preached, analyzed, and memorized as this document. Most people cannot seem to follow this. People have had two problems with Jesus, the Jesus platform. One, they're not sure they like Jesus' definition of happiness. And second, even if they agree with the definition, they don't think they can live up to it. Do you live up to the Beatitudes? one thing for sure, Jesus was talking about the pursuit of happiness. Each statement in his kingdom platform begins the same way. Blessed, in our language, would be happy. Here is the way Jesus said to the happy life. Bible verses sometimes become so familiar with that the people don't think much about what the verses are saying. So let me tell you, this is an utterly revolutionary document. Lay it alongside any political document in human history, and you'll see how revolutionary it really is. More than the Declaration of Independence, more than the Bill of Rights, and more even than the Magna Carta. Please look at it for a few minutes. Can you run through those, Mark? Sure. Blessed are, blessed, pardon me, blessed are those who hunger. They should. It goes on and on. Who are the happy ones? To begin with, the poor in spirit. Our popular culture says that what you and I need is a good self-image. And Jesus said that you shall be glad if you're willing to confess a bad self-image, because the kingdom of heaven is made up of people like us. Then be happy that you can mourn, because the people who mourn will be comforted. Do you see somebody who's carrying a heavy load, a grievous cross? Mourn with them. Mourn with them by sharing their load. And if you see someone in pain, don't run from them. Mourn with them by accepting their pain. It's strange, but if you help some others that mourn, your pain will be less. But meek? But our culture seems to say, if you've got it, flaunt it. Sometimes our culture seems to say, if you don't have it, flaunt it with something synthetic in its place. But Jesus said that in our pursuit of happiness, we should be meek. That is, know who you are and don't try to impress people. Don't even try to impress yourself. Because when you're meek, that is when you get yourself off your own hands, you're ready to inherit the earth. Then Jesus says that if you really want to be happy, you should hunger and thirst after righteousness. So much in our world is wrong. So we're desperately in need of people who hunger for what is right. Most of us think of righteousness as a religious term. It is that. It is. But it's also very pragmatic. It says that if the engine is built right, it will run. And if we live our lives right. Because if we are living right, the people who we come in contact with will be better for it. And thus our lives will be filled up and overflowing. Jesus says, if you want to be happy, be merciful. Not me, someone says. Not me. I'll be happy when that so-and-so gets what he deserves. Not really. Not really. You'll be just as angry inside, and part of the anger will be turned towards yourself. No one feels better deep inside just because another person suffers. Mercy is expensive, of course, because it requires us to get rid of our self-righteousness. But here's the big secret about being merciful. Sometimes you're going to need mercy. Believe me, all of us do. Sometimes. Not on this earth, maybe, but when we appear before God. If we give mercy, we will receive mercy. We'll get it from the ultimate judge when it really, really matters. There is more. There is more. If you want to be really happy, try having a pure heart. That is difficult because impurity seems to be surround us on every side. There's so much impurity, lust, of course, but also envy and jealousy and belittling thoughts about people we don't like. Having a pure heart is tough for us. But here is the secret. The pure heart will see God, and after we see more of God, impurity looks very, very dull. Now, you probably say our world would be much better off place if we only could find peace. Jesus said the same as time ago. It was part of his campaign document. Blessed are the peacemakers. He said, because they will be called the children of God. And we saw that on that tape. This is bigger than the winning of Super Bowl. Where others make trouble, you see peace. Jesus is looking for those of us that will bring good will and kind thoughts, and peace comes with them. And here's the one that is really off the charts. You have reason to be happy when people revile you, persecute you, and tell all kinds of lies about you. And they do this just because you're truly good. Because it seems that such goodness makes some people nervous. So be glad when people persecute you falsely for Christ's sake. Because you have a great reward awaiting you in heaven. Now that may be a long time in coming, and you may suffer a good deal of misunderstanding in the meantime. But you know, it's worth waiting for. It is. That was Jesus' political platform. But you can see it very contrary to our times. It was also contrary to all the time before us as well. After all, when Jesus laid out his platforms 20 centuries ago, they eventually crucified him. You can see, therefore, that this isn't for the faint of heart. Not many people really buy into Jesus' pursuit of happiness. They never have. Most folks like it just enough to quiet their conscience just a little bit. but not to go all the way. Some of those who go all the way end up being called saints. Maybe like Francis of Assisi. But more of them never get such attention. Mostly people think that they're a bit odd. And some of them get that strange but lovely compliment when people say about them, I could never live that way myself, but I surely admire so-and-so for living the way he and she does. But this I can tell you for sure. When people pursue Christ's happiness until it catches them, the angels in heaven sing another round of hallelujah. And when the rest of us make just a small step in the right direction, somebody in heaven is saying, Amen, Amen. I say try it and see if I'm not right. Let us pray. God has shown us what is good and has told us what God requires of us. Go from here today to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.